Hello class. We're going to start into Unit 4 in this book, and it covers this concept of Python modules. There's more stuff in Unit 4 beyond Python modules, but this video just covers this idea, this introduction of a Python module. What is a module? A module is a library of additional code that other people have written that you can now use. You know, Python itself, there's kind of this foundational level of Python. And then on top of that, people have built a bunch of different libraries. And they're very useful, different kinds of libraries. They contain functions that we can use that give us, like math functions. They define other data types, other classes, other objects that we can create. Some examples that we will be seeing in actually Unit 5 is a math library as well as a random library to have access to other math functions such as, sine, cosine, trigonometry functions, or some functions to create random numbers. But we'll get to that in Unit 5. We're going to look at another library, kind of a fun library to use in Python. It's called the turtle library. And this is the syntax as a way of saying, I want to use this library. I need to first import that library at the top of my code. Once we've imported that library, then we could start using it. Now, this particular library defines some new classes. One of the classes, data types is another word I've been saying a lot. One of them is called the screen class. The other one is called the turtle class. Again, I could also say data type. So the screen data type, the turtle data type, just like an integer, a floating point, a string. These are all different kind of data types. Now we have some additional ones. A screen data type, a turtle data type. So I can make screens. I can make turtles. Just like I can make integers and I can make strings. Now, how do I create objects? There's a different syntax now to create these objects. Here on the right, you see that if I want to create this screen data type, this is what I do. It's kind of like calling a function, and I don't want to forget the parentheses here. The parentheses are very important, and it's often, or it's sometimes forgotten, and it gives you a error that doesn't make sense. It doesn't just tell you, oh, you forgot the parentheses. It gives you some mysterious error much later in your code. Anyways, make sure that when you want to create a screen object, you use these parentheses here. Now, because this screen class is defined within the turtle library, we need to precede it with this turtle dot to say, where do I find this screen object or screen class definition? Oh, it's in the turtle module. So notice how that's linked right there. Okay, if I want to create a turtle data type, now notice this is a capital T as opposed to a little t. This is actually the name of another data type I can make, the name of another class I can make. And so again, I create that by typing this, again with the parentheses. Now notice I'm using the capital T because that's the name of this data type that I want to make. And then in green, I need to then precede that with the name of the library which contains that definition. Okay, so then on the right hand side, this is the command, the Python command to make the object. And then on the left hand side, I'm giving it a variable name, so I can now reference that object with this convenient variable name. In the same way that we were saying, oh, let x equals 15, Python understands this language here saying, oh, you want to create an object, an integer object with the value 15 inside. And you want x to point to that. Now in the same way, when I create a turtle using this command, it says, oh, okay, what you want to do is you want to create a turtle. And there's some information about the turtle inside of here. Some I'll get to it, attributes, something that describes the turtle. And then we have this variable, my turtle, that points to that object. So we have an integer object, we have a turtle object. Okay, now let's dig into this whole idea of an object again and at a deeper level now. Again, in Python, everything is an object. Integers were objects. Now, we're going to learn a little bit more about objects now. Every object has different methods that we could call. They are like functions. They are things that we call to make the object do something. So if we want to make the object do something, we have the syntax to do that command is by saying, well, my object, the variable name that references that object, dot or period, the name of the method. And this looks just like calling a function, like the print function with these parentheses here. So this is what's called the dot notation that allows me to call the method of that particular object. Now, for example, I made a turtle in the previous case, and I'm calling that turtle my turtle. In fact, let me just go back real fast. You see right here, my turtle is the variable name referencing that object. So to call one of the methods, I say my turtle dot the name of the method. And one of the methods of the turtle object is this method called forward, which moves the turtle forward by, in this case, 20 units. I could also turn my turtle, rotate the direction that it's facing. I could say turn to the left by 90 degrees. And these both require an integer input to be supplied to it so it knows how much to move forward or how much to turn left. So all objects have methods. The other thing that all objects have are what's called attributes. Attributes are properties of that object. Just like an integer object has a value, say 15. 15 is one of the major attributes of that integer object. Well, what are the attributes of a turtle? Turtles have color. Turtles have a width of the pen size, so I can make what it draws very wide or very narrow. So there are quite a few different attributes. And the way that we change the attribute of a turtle is actually by calling a method. So I could say, I want the screen to have a background color of red. I want this particular turtle to have a color of blue. How do I do that? I call the color method of this object with this parameter blue. Okay? Now, just like I could have many different variables pointing to different integers, I could have many different turtle variables, or I could have many different variables pointing to many different turtle objects. And so these are two examples of kind of the same thing. In one case, I have an integer 6, I have an integer 9, I have an integer 10, and I have variables pointing to them. Now, this is just an alternative, another way of making another kind of object. In Python, I'm making 3 turtles. So I have turtle 1, turtle 2, turtle 3, and they're all initialized with some basic information inside of them. And so then I have T1 pointing to one object, T2 pointing to another object, T3 pointing to another object. And like I said, each one of these objects has its own properties. Now, when I make the object the very first time, they start off all with the same properties. But then I could start changing them. I could say, oh, I want to change the color of T1 to yellow. And so then yellow will be kind of, the color will be equal to yellow on T1. And then T2, I want to have its color be a different color, red. And then I want the pen size of the third turtle to be equal to 4. And so then my attributes of each of the turtles become different. Okay. Now there are many different turtle methods, and these are just some examples. I can move my turtle forward. I can move my turtle left, up, down. I can create a stamp and have it stamped down. I'm going to give some examples right now, and there's many other methods, and you could just look into your online book to kind of check that out. But let's actually demonstrate this now. So I need to import the library. I need to create a screen, because the screen is what is the turtle moves in. So I need to always create a screen object, and this is the variable that references this screen. I need to now create my first turtle, and I'm just gonna name it whatever I want. I'll call my turtle Alex, and let's make Alex move forward 100 units, and let's run this. Okay, so you can see what happens right here. At the very beginning, Alex comes up right here in my window, and then I told, and the turtle is facing west or to the right, and I told the turtle to move forward by 100, and so that's what it does. I could do some other things. Let's change the color of Alex to maybe red, and let's turn Alex to the left by 90 degrees, and then let's move Alex forward again by 100 units. So let me run the program again, and I'll start all over from the beginning. So you notice it moved 100 to the right, it turned the color to red, then it turned left by 90 degrees, and then it moved forward by 100. Okay, so it gives you an idea, again, how to instruct the object to do something, how to call a method of that object. This is a very important dot notation syntax that I just want to demonstrate. Now, let's make another object. Let's create a bob turtle. So I'm going to say turtle, because turtle is the library name, and capital turtle is the name of the class that I want to create. So I'm going to create a new one, and I'll make Bob a different color just so that we can distinguish it. I'll make Bob blue. And I'm going to make Bob turn to the right at the very beginning by 90 degrees. And then I'm going to have Bob move forward. Oh, I'm going to make Bob's pen size bigger as well. I'll make it 5 instead. And then I'll say, hey, Bob, move forward by a value of 100 as well. And let's see what happens. So you can see Alex did what it did before. And now I made another turtle. And I made him blue right away. And then I had Bob move or rotate 90 degrees to the right, which made him facing straight down. I changed the pen size of Bob, so now it's a thicker pen. So whenever Bob moves, it draws a thicker line now. And I decided to move Bob forward by 100. Okay, and there's many other kinds of different things you can do. Let's see. Let's do a few more. Let's change the shape of Bob to a circle. Let's then have Bob turn right again by 90. Let's have Bob raise up the pen. So, and then let's have Bob move forward by 100. Let's see what happens when I do all of this. Oh, I misspelled right here. Oops, need to fix that. R-I-G-H-T. Okay, this is interesting. What happened here? Okay, so this was the new piece of code I added. I said turn the shape of Bob into a circle. And so now you see, instead of it being this arrow head, it's now the shape of a circle. And I had Bob turn right, so now he's facing to the east. I told Bob to lift up his pen. So now when Bob moves forward, it doesn't draw anything underneath. Okay? And I'm going to have Bob now turn right again by 90 degrees and have Bob go forward by 100. And I expect Bob to now go up by 100 right here. So let's just see it do that. Oh, what did I... bad input on line 21. Oh, I forgot my parentheses. Oh boy. Okay, anyways, let's save and run that. Okay, so it's doing what we expected it to do. It turned right again by 90 degrees and moved forward by 100. Now I'm going to add this other command called stamp, bob.stamp. And notice this one doesn't take an input. So if you look at this here, it's a command, it's a method call, and it makes the turtle stamp the shape down at the current location. So right after it moves forward, it's going to do a stamp, then going to turn right and move forward. So let's see what happens here. Ah, okay, you see how it stamped down the shape, its circle right there. Then it turned right one more time and moved forward one more time. So I hope what you could see here is just examples of how I'm making a variety of new objects. You know, before we learned about creating integer objects, now we're learning about some fancier objects that I can make. I'm making a turtle. And this turtle does a lot of different things, and we have just a small list of the things that this turtle can do, different methods that the turtle can do, and we could see how I can make that object do these different things using this dot notation, variable name, dot method name, and any required parameters. Okay, so that's for the lesson for today, or for now. Okay.